John as I do, and he rarely needs an introduction. But I will attempt to do justice to the dedication he's contributed to this city. He has been and continues to be a citizen-centered representative. Just watch or attend one council meeting and you can appreciate the obstacles John encounters in his efforts to bring an open and transparent city government to Virginia Beach. A city government that does not pick winners and losers, but treats all citizens fairly with priorities based on need, not greed. And we're thrilled that my district council representative has Jessica Abbott, who joined John in that fight. John possesses an amazing mind for facts and figures to the torment of many of his city councilmen. John has managed to let the lure of thousands of dollars of special interest campaign contribution pass him by, so he's beholden to no one but the citizens he pledged to support. And as many of you know, our mayor's campaign war chest never goes below $600,000 for his $30,000 a year job. So should you ever wonder why city council votes the way it does, always follow the money, as John likes to quote. John has remained true to his convictions to honor citizens' welfare and needs first. It's a unique opportunity to use adjectives such as principled, ethical, and honorable in the same sentence as a politician. John Mosh embodies these characteristics as well as humility. And I have no doubt when he takes the podium, he'll say, as he usually does, that he's just doing the job that he promised to do. And don't forget, when re-election time comes in November 2018, it's crucial to support and work to keep John in council, as long as he's willing to do this thankless job. John.
Yeah. Always good to be back home. And it's nice to see that the VBTA continues to be on the leading edge of engaging and informing our citizenry. Marlena, thank you for that very warm introduction. I'd like to introduce someone who is my second boss away from home. I think all of you know Tony Hendrick, my campaign. And really the person I owe the most a debt of gratitude, and I know most of you know my wife, Kathy. If it wasn't for my wife, Kathy, my public service would not be possible. And so I really, and this morning she's working at the church, and so to be here to speak or out doing with gloves working, doing yard work at the church this morning. So I don't know who got the better job, but they're both enjoyable and they're both public service. You know, the budget really is the most explicit statement of a community or their elected leadership's priorities. And you know, and change is a constant. Nothing can stay the same. But because things change doesn't mean your core values and your principles have to change. And that's always what's made America a special place. Because America is a country that first and foremost was founded on a principle. A principle that liberty was a gift of our birthright, and we only created government to preserve our liberty. That's its sole purpose. And that by our own individual creativity, we create wealth and prosperity for ourselves and for the community. We should never forget that, because that's important. Because you can't have liberty and exercise it if you don't have discretionary income. And when government at all levels consumes so much of your income of most people, that most people are dependent upon the largesse of government, or they don't have the means and the ability to take care of themselves because of the taxes they pay, then things are out of balance. And we've lost what really we're all about is to be free. I'm glad I want to recognize Jessica. I can't tell you what a wonderful gift she has been. And she brings a perspective. We need more young people on council. An election year, I'm saying that might be dangerous, but I think it's true. It's true, because America's always been a forward-looking place, and I do think there are different perspectives, and there are a lot of demographics in the community that need to be represented on that city council, and they're not today. But that's for the voters to decide. And I thank the school board. Thank you for being here today as well. But here's a fact that kind of indicates how our community has changed and the challenges and what it means to us before I get to the budget itself. In 2008, You may remember what 2008 was. That's the start of the economic slide that we went through for about a decade. The number of children on free and reduced lunch at Virginia Beach was 29.1%. And there were 71,000 students roughly. Advanced to probably the depth of the hard times, around the 2012 period, it had edged up to 33%. Now in the best of times, as we started coming up out of this 15, 16, it now stands at 39.4% of all our population is on free and reduced lunch. Well, first of all, let's just say, glad that we have those programs for people who qualify, because children should have a meal. So I think that's a good thing that we have the programs that are being served, but it also indicates something about the overall economic health of households with children in our community. And I'll come back to that in just a moment. But more telling is, in that percentage, the number that were on 100% free lunch was 20.13% in 2008. It's 32% in 2017. And the number on reduced lunch came down 2%, but the amount that's on totally free lunch is up 12%. And when you know what qualifies for free and reduced lunch on the poverty index of an urban family of 4, that's not a lot of money. That's a lot of households that really have too much money at the end of the money. Now, what's the implication of that? When you think about how you get around our community in a car, or you pay the stormwater management fee, or you pay all these things that have no relationship to your income, they're just a fixed household cost. Well, all these things that you saw in the paper, this was the solid waste management fee notice, this was the public hearing on proposed increases in fees, here was about the property tax that gets translated into rents. So all of these things have a very deleterious effect on those very same households. So when we say, what is the challenge that we face, is should government be growing at a faster pace than the income of its residents? I don't know how you can justify that unless the public is going to the ballot box in a referendum and saying, I want to sign up for a tax increase. The purpose of government is to be what? To be frugal. Not the bright and shiny objects, but to do the very core services. So I want to talk a little bit about that today, and this is what I've kind of heard from the public. I might set this down something. I want some stuff here today just to talk about some things, because I think it's important. If you want to know what over $2 billion looks like, so you get this on March 27th. There's a lot of facts in here. There's not very much information, and there's little to no knowledge. Now, if you want to go out there and take this lump of coal and really make something from it and spend lots and lots of hours, you can actually know something. But this here doesn't tell you a thing. And when you listen to the I'll call it the death by PowerPoint. This goes through and describes every day we meet and educate the public. Here's the expenses. But there's never any discussion about the requirement. There's never any discussion about the risk. And there's no detailed knowledge about how we got there. And of course, it's designed not to give council members very much time to look at it anyway. So if you want to spend, like I do, my wife is wishing to play a blessing, hide above the garage and spend, till 2 in the morning going through this stuff and asking lots of questions. Some of them, when you get the answers, you say, well, that's kind of obvious. They are obvious, but they should be in that document, and they're not. So you have to ask to know where the money goes. And I'll give you a good example of why asking is important. In the Parks and Recreation, they talk about how they had this big reserve fund. And I thought, well, where did that reserve fund come from? So I asked, because it's not explained in the budget. And it comes back and said, oh, $1.5 million of that was left over from what starts with L? Yes, like, what's that, Wheel of Fortune? That's the light rail. Wait a minute. So we're having to increase personal property tax by 10 cents to hire 10 police officers, and that's not exactly how it goes. But we had $1.5 million left from light rail. Now, I like open space, I like parks and recreation. I know my good friends on the Parks and Recreation Committee don't like. But what's more important? Not to raise taxes on cars and businesses, your trash can, your desk, whatever it is, or take that $1.5 million and move it over to take care of some of those things. But no, you go over here and something that's a core service, public safety, you have to pay higher taxes. That's like saying dessert is free, but you got to pay for the entree first. I mean, no, I'll just pay for the entree, not buy dessert and save money. But no, it's the other way around. That's a thought process, I think, that's flawed. Because this is what I heard people telling me, and this is just a list of all the increases, but as I go around the city, this is what I hear people tell me. Council must live within our means. And I can't tell you the countless emails that I have received, mostly from seniors, to tell you the truth, talking about how they are struggling. They are struggling. There's no senior tax relief for trash. There's no senior tax relief for stormwater management fee. And when the city was so distressed and so heartbroken, we didn't have any money, we had to cut senior citizen tax relief, but we had plenty of tax relief for City View, and plenty of tax relief for the pier, and plenty of tax relief for anybody, but people who worked all their lives and here and now are being basically homebound because they're broke. That's the State of the Union you didn't hear at the pavilion. That's the State of the Union about the number of kids increasing on free or reduced lunch. Virginia Beach has a lot of great stuff. And if you're in the top 20% of the income, there isn't a greater place probably to live in the United States than right here. But a lot of our citizens aren't in that top 20% by definition. And life here is a struggle. It is truly a struggle for those individuals, and the priorities that we are pursuing are not about the everyday citizen, the everyday neighborhood. They are just not. I also heard that flooding is our foremost concern. There is no doubt the biggest existential threat to Hampton roads is flooding. And the bill is going to be horrendous. And the consequences, and we aren't going to be able to save every neighborhood. That's also a given. Anyone who thinks that's possible, it's not going to be true. And that means we have to be careful where we put every bit of debt. Because our ability to borrow, just like your ability to borrow, is limited. And we need to be putting our investments where they deliver the biggest return for the safety, the security of your liberty, and your home. And there's nothing about a lot of stuff in this budget that keeps water out of your house. They're going to talk about how much they're spending, but look over here and see what also we're spending money on. I'm not saying that those aren't requirements. I'm not saying that those wouldn't be nice things. It's just like at home. You don't build a pool if your kid needs braces. You don't do these because there's just the right sense of priorities. And this budget, probably 90% of it's like at home. Your home budget, split. You got the utility of it. But there's a lot of discretion still there. 10% of $2 billion is $200 million. That's a lot of money. We are not using our discretion where we should. More police officers? Yes. You've probably seen some of the questions I posed, but my question was, yes, I know we need to hire more officers, but if we have, at the end of every year, we have 50 to 40 vacancies, I've asked the question, where will we be a year from now? Because are we just budgeting for something we'll never fill, so we're over budgeting? Even though we'd like to have more, can we execute the requirement? If you can at the end, will you have achieved that goal? If not, you're appropriating money for a purpose you know you will never expend it for. That doesn't mean you're not pro-public safety. It doesn't mean you're pro-police. It's just you're pro-smart. And there's nothing wrong about being smart, I hope. And then increasing the car tax. Now, how many people can turn back the clock about 3 budget cycles when we took the tax from $3.60 per 100 to $4?
Yeah.
And we said we were doing it for why?
Public safety.
Hiring 15 officers. I know 15 officers don't cost that much, but that was the banner. And what we did, and then of course, the very next budget cycle, we said, oh, here's all the other things that we can do with it. Let me just show you an example of that. I'm just trying to give you an idea of the marketing and the expenditures don't add up. But this is the executive summary of the budget. So there'll be a discussion here showing you all the things that they're doing with that increase. And they're doing the cameras and the things, so it's using it for public safety, but it didn't take 40 cents. And now they're raising another 10 cents. And that's supposed to be this mark, and they're saying to hire 10 officers. Well, they really are buying a lot of other stuff, a lot of stuff, body cameras, all legitimate stuff. But why are we raising taxes at all for public safety when public safety is the #1 priority and obligation of local government? There's 10 cents of something else in this budget. And let's debate what that 10 cents is. And let's see if you put that marketing on it, if the public will say it. It is false choice to tell the public that we have to raise your taxes on your cars, on your desk in your business, and everything else to hire 10 police officers. Let's be honest. No, we are buying something else. Whether it's 4 deputy city managers, where it's a planning department where we have 1 person appointed for every 8 sworn police officers on the street. I don't know what it is, but it's not public safety, and no one should be allowed to get away with that false choice. It is really shameful, in my personal opinion. So we don't have to do that. And they want us to hold the line on spending. How many people got a 2.4% raise last year? How many people who get Social Security that you paid your Medicaid insurance even had any money left? Really? Well, you should all work for the city. You can just confiscate other people's income independent of the justification and move on. So I think that is the challenge. That is the challenge. The city did get a pay raise, just like we did. Our real estate went up on average. Every little thing you probably saw in the paper, I showed that. Well, I think I showed that piece of paper. That this was the notice telling you that had we held the line on real estate, in other words, the state law says, as many of you know, by state law, cities cannot benefit from inflation without taking a positive vote. The law requires that our real estate tax be lowered to make it revenue neutral, less the stuff was added to the tax base in the current year. And if that were to happen, our tax rate would be 90.9832 cents. That's what our tax rate would be if there was no revenue neutral. But, like everybody else, people's cost, and that's 28% of the city's revenues are real estate, just so you know. So, but when we move it back, but then take a positive vote, that's what all this notice is about, telling you they're going to increase your taxes. That's a 1.96% increase in real estate tax on average. Some people got zeros, some people got a little bit, some people got a lot. It all depends on where you live, but on average, that's the total aggregate change. Well, that's about 2% raise. That's what retirees got. That's what military retirees, Social Security people got, that kind of raise. So I think the city of Virginia Beach can live on a real estate pay raise just like we're living on one, and we can make things work within that. So we got to just go looking. So a couple things, and in terms of question that came to my mind, I'm always looking for places to. So we have 7,000 people on the payroll. 7,000 budgeted positions. I won't say the people actually. Over 7,000 folks, roughly, in the current budget. They're asking for an increase in about 7,000. And 7,000 FTEs. There's some part-time, but when you roll them all up, you get about 7,000 full-time equivalent. Now, is it unrealistic to expect somehow all that, all this greatly well-paid leadership that we have, that labor productivity would be something that you would find, you know, that you would find some efficiencies and how to do things smarter? And because I know in my job, I'm forced to do that every year, and even sometimes it's unbelievable.
Could you count the school people too?
No. I'm just the city. We'll come back to just the city. The school board would be a different. I'm just talking about the city part. I'll come back to the school right here and I'll watch my time. But you would expect 1% productivity. It's not too much to ask. That would be 70 positions. That's exactly the number that the city manager is requesting, to be 70. But I'm being I'm going to realize kind of how challenged he is. I've decided I'll just, my budget proposal, it just will take 0.5% of 1%. So 35. So I'll give them 35 positions to put someplace. And fund them at 75% because it takes time to hire, so why budget something when you've got 3 months to hire people? But more importantly,